Welcome, Talking Halos, and talking we will do. This is depressing. I don't even want to start this,
It's
folks.
only May.
It's only May. This is depressing, but nonetheless, we shall move on. We shall persevere. This is Derek Ciapola with my co-host, my partners in crime, Negative Nate.
I am not negative today. I am pumped.
And Jared Timms in a wonderful, and I mean that fully sarcastically, podcast coming off of a 16-8 loss, which came off of a 10-1 loss, which came off a pretty neat comeback, but overall, rough series. And there are a lot of reasons why. And we'll go to Jared to get his first thoughts. Jared, what do you got?
I'm not disappointed by any means. Like Nate and I called the series almost to a T. It felt like so. Like when you're going into a series expecting something like that, like you had Nathan Eovaldi who pitches well against the Angels, no matter where it is. It could be, you mentioned it to me, like the Boston thing, going back to even when he pitched in Boston, he's always pitched well against the Angels. It's always kind of how it's been. I don't know if he has something against the Angels or what, but he always seems to pitch well and pitch his best stuff against the Angels. And he did what he was supposed to do. He pitched really, really freaking well. In that game too, the bullpen gave him a chance to win, even though, Detmers had one tough inning. The bullpen came in and threw up 3 straight innings of perfect baseball. And, granted, it fell apart there in the 9th, but, you have 6, 7, 8 up in the 9th. You don't expect them to really, really get anything going, especially after Eovaldi shoved like that all day. So, yeah, I thought they played a decently good game that day up until the 9th inning. I think the score didn't reflect how that game actually played out. I thought Reed Detmers had one bad inning in there where he gave up those 3 runs. It was 3-0 basically until the 9th inning there, when they scored quite a few runs, I guess until the 8th inning, and it was 4-1 at that point, I think. And they scored five, 6 more runs in that 9th inning.
So 3-1, they had a 7th inning, 9th inning, 7-run 9th inning.
Yeah. So, it unfortunate that happened, but I thought they played, just good enough to lose in that game. I don't think you can take much away from that 9th inning. The opening game, the game of the series, I thought they played well. We got to see a nice, fun comeback, and it came down to the bullpen. And the Angels bullpen was better, exactly, kind of what we said in the podcast previous to this. So yeah, I thought again the Angels played just good enough to win that game, and they came back and had a fantastic game. And then you got on to Sunday here, and you can't take much. You take what you want away from it. You're gonna have to do something with Jose Suarez. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I got something you can do with Jose Suarez.
Oh. Hey, he tied his shoes wrong today. All right, give him another chance.
No, you can't. We talked about this, right? You can't give Jose Suarez another chance yet. You really can't. You got to move him to the bullpen. You got to do something. If you want to win, if you're expecting to win, you're gonna have to do something. I don't think it's Suarez, or I don't think it's Silseth going to the rotation. I think they like him in the pen, though he threw 70 pitches today. So an indication that he may start at some point.
No, that's just because they're dumb.
I don't disagree with that either. And you needed pitching there. I don't know.
Well, can I ask you a question? Jose Suarez is starting today, right? And you go to Tucker Davidson in the 9th inning down 3-1. Why? Yeah. You're going to need a long reliever. We've used a long reliever every time Jose Suarez has started. So why would you change what you're doing?
Yeah,
it's just idiotic.
I forgot.
Absolutely idiotic.
We talked about it. I think I called you right away when that happened. I was like, why are they going to Silseth? I texted you right away. Why are you going to Davidson?
Yeah, it made no sense.
Question went through my mind too.
He's not that guy.
Yeah. And I'm not the one that can complain. Also, by the way, there's no way on God's green earth Phil Nevin is controlling this bullpen. That's
no
true at all. This is still Perry's bullpen. This is still Perry's team.
Joe wasn't controlling it either, though. So I think because you're seeing the same exact thing as you saw last year. Like, it's not anything different.
Yeah. I mean, you take what you want away from it. I thought, you get on to today's game too. And they hit an ace. They hit a dude. They hit Martin Perez, a Cy Young candidate. Nate, I know he's not Garrett Cole. He's not Luis Castillo. He's not that.
He's a 2 at best.
They hit a good pitcher today. I mean, I think the issue's always been Angels hitting good pitching, and they went and did that. They went and hit a good pitcher today. Granted, the team didn't play good enough to win today. So Yeah.
I
Take
think it's.
away from it.
I mean, Nate, tell me if I'm hearing this wrong, but I'm actually. I mean, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm running to Martin Perez's defense here. It seems almost disrespectful. The guy's came in the game like a 2.8 ERA. He was Cy Young candidate last year, and you're destroying the guy. Why not give the Angels credit for going out? I mean, come on, dude.
He was a Cy Young candidate last year.
He's going into the game with a 7.7 K per nine. That's not elite stuff. He's a contact guy that gets outs. He's a good pitcher.
You don't have to be you don't have to be a 9+ K guy to be an ace or be.
You got to have good stuff to be an ace, and he doesn't.
Was Greg Maddux a 9K guy? No, he was one of the best ever.
He had elite stuff. He was hitting. He could hit any spot.
My point is this: if all you rely on is strikeouts to be your measure as to how good a guy is, then no wonder you're going to be in last place in our fantasy league this year.
Nate, and this is coming from a guy who hates FIP and hates like WAR and all that pitchers WAR. Like, you know how much that goes into it too, you know?
Oh yeah, so but he's not an ace. Like, there's a reason the dude's been around the league as much as he has. Like, if you're an ace, you don't get bounced around as much as he has. He's been on how many teams and how many years? Like, he's a good pitcher, but he's not an ace.
But it seems like you're coming down awful hard on a guy who has pitched very, very well. You know, especially the last couple of years, and some guys are late bloomers. So it's kind of hard to say you're going to measure this guy on what he's done in the last 2 years. He's been fantastic for them. That's the bottom line. Not every pitcher in the world is going to be a 9+ K per 9 inning guy. That's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. By the way, what are your other thoughts on the series, Nate, besides the fact you predicted it well?
You know, I'm really glad that Taman and Manassian used the pitch count for Brett Phillips and didn't use him today. It was huge. You know, good to see that it goes for the entire bullpen and not just, you know, a couple of guys. But yeah, good to see a guy coming in there throwing 45. But no, seriously, like, I'm sick and tired of this Jose Suarez crap. Like, I have heard it from last year to this year. And I said, he's not a pitcher. He's not a starter. And I'm sick and tired of hearing this crap of, oh, he'll come around. He'll come around. Yeah, he'll come around when the Angels are 20 games out of the playoffs, and he'll start pitching good because there's no pressure. He's not a pressure guy. He's a long reliever. That's what he is. It's fine. Every team needs a long reliever, and that's what he is. But good to see Rendon hit a home run. Good to see that. Good to see the Angels fight and come out and win the game on Friday night. But the other thing that I'm upset about is, like, why are we continuing to run dudes out there that are hurt? Like, why? We're trying to push the envelope with Neto to make sure that he saves this roster because he is the only true shortstop on our roster, and we're going to continue to run him out there and pray that he can play at a level that's going to help the Angels, but also that he's not going to get hurt worse and have an Ohapi injury where it's, oh, you know what, he ended up breaking his finger because he had to continue to play on it, and now he's out for 4 to 6 weeks instead of just taking off a couple days. And it's like, well, I don't know. You would think that they would have learned from this already, but I guess they haven't. And I don't know. There's a lot of things that need to happen with this roster, and the one thing I've learned about from this week is Texas is way better than the Angels. They're missing their 2 best players, and they still are way better than the Angels.
They are. And this, of course, can easily wrap around to one of our many, many conversations on Shohei Ohtani, right? Okay, like, they didn't do enough to get better. And we all know where this is going. So it's kind of like almost like we're sitting here spinning our wheels. What's going to happen here? Well, we know what's going to happen. We know it. But, I mean, when I talked to the Rangers guy last week from Rangers State podcast, and they were talking about, you know, what he wanted, what his goals were. His goals were 2 out of 3. Well, that's what he got. What we saw was a team that can hit. They play better defense. They got a lot. I mean, they got a lot going for them. And that's what, like you said, their 2 best players are still out. I mean, I saw a team that can win this division today. I mean, these last couple, I saw a team that for, we all talk about Houston and won the World Series. Well, Houston's got pitching issues right now. I mean, they got some issues down there. The Rangers,
they got to get a bullpen arm or two, but they're going to be really, really tough.
And they're going to be tough for the next 3-4 years. This team is set.
You know where the Rangers are better than the Angels? Because I don't think they're more talented than the Angels. Like, if you match them up, I think they're a pitcher deeper than the Angels. A good pitcher deeper, right? Like, you go
probably
if you match them up
deeper, but it's okay.
If you match them up in a playoff series, Shohei against DeGrom, that's a good pitching matchup. It's fairly similar if DeGrom is healthy and all good to go. Sandoval against Martin Perez. The Angels don't have the Angels don't have Nathan Eovaldi. That's kind of where you're missing it. The Angels do have, I guess, now an Andrew Heaney in the sense, if you really want to go that way with Reed Detmers. I think Reed Detmers is better than Andrew Heaney. I just think that Reed Detmers needs to find his stride.
John Gray is better than Andrew Heaney too. So
John Gray, yes. I mean,
Andrew Heaney is their 5.
John Gray and Reed Detmers. I think pitching lines up. I think the Angels right now have a better bullpen. Bullpen's very volatile, so if you face them again, the Rangers bullpen could be a heck of a lot better. I think the Angels are very similar offensively, but where they differ is management. Bruce Bochy is a Hall of Fame manager, one of the best managers of all time, and
they let him do his job.
And they let him do his job. Exactly. I mean, not saying that Phil Nevin couldn't do his job, but when you're playing the analytics game and you're playing it from the front office, it's a little bit different than how you're playing it on the field. And again, that's, I think, really where the Angels and Rangers differ. Yes, there's a pitcher difference. I think you're missing one more dude. But other than that, I think the offense lines up very similar. I think the bullpen is very similar depending on what day you catch them. Just Bruce Bochy is really the difference maker in these two teams.
I want to come back on that for a moment too, because I think something that really caught me off guard today was the fact that Suarez was out there having given up 7 runs and there was nobody up in the bullpen for him.
Because they didn't have anybody.
I mean, they had to have some. You got to put somebody up, man.
I know, but
you eventually pulled Silseth in there, right?
But that's what I'm talking about. Yesterday, if Davidson doesn't throw the 9th inning yesterday, he's available, and he's probably up earlier than Silseth was. He's probably up when it's 4-0 instead of 7.
I mean, you're cutting me off there, but that's what I'm actually coming back around to. I'm backing Jared. I'm backing Jared up here. Where I'm saying, listen, it should disturb anybody that there was nobody up before he got quote pulled for injury. And by the way, do I think it's an injury?
Velo
he's going to be on the DL.
Velo didn't go down. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, I'm going to say this.
I'm not going to.
I'm just saying that.
You can say the same thing about Lou.
You're saying that. Listen, you're saying. I think we're saying the same thing in different ways, Nate. I'm watching a team that's not getting managed in a way that you're going to be successful. And this isn't just about Perry, by the way. Because on the field management, Phil needed to make a decision better than that too. And he didn't.
You also don't know how.
We don't think Phil can actually make.
I don't know how much management Phil's doing besides, I there are at times where you get calls from the GM during the game, hey, put this guy in, hey, remove. It wouldn't surprise me if that's kind of how you're playing it. And that's how analytics are played. That's how analytics are played. And that's fine. Like, if you're going to do it, go do it full steam. And I'm fine with that. Well,
then why did you even hire Phil Nevin or anybody else? Why isn't Perry Manassi coming out and manage the team?
Yeah, like, every team does that.
I mean,
every team does that.
But some teams are doing it better, obviously.
Well, that's because other teams have the right personnel. The Angels don't have the right personnel to run it. They think the game was played on paper, and it's not played on paper. Some teams know how to play it on paper. Like, you can look at, I think there were quotes from the Yankees yesterday, and the Yankees have not played good at all. But I think they asked Cashman, does he let his managers manage? And he goes, sometimes. And it was like, oh, maybe Aaron Boone is not at fault here. Maybe it's more of Cashman than it is Aaron Boone. And I guarantee you, if they asked Perry, he would answer it the exact same way, because he does the same thing. He managed 90% of the game, and I think he I don't think he watched film on guys that he got in the offseason. Like, I think he saw the numbers with Gio Urshela and said, oh, these numbers work perfectly with our analytics. He's going to come in. He's going to be our everyday shortstop because the numbers say he's a good shortstop. And, oh, he's going to rake. And he's going to hit for power. And he's going to do all these things. But if you really watched Gio Urshela last year, a lot of his home runs came up big or down big. Like, they weren't key big home runs. It was like, he was not swinging it, and then all of a sudden they're down 10-3 in the fifth, and it's like, oh, he went double and bomb, and his average went up to 290 because he had a 3-for-4 day when they lost by 8 or something like that. So I don't think that Perry did a great job of constructing this roster. I know you've heard me complain about this all year long. You can't just start putting guys wherever you want and hoping that they're okay with it. Like, you need to go to the ballpark with some regularity, knowing like, hey, I'm playing today and I'm playing this position, instead of like, okay, I'm going to the ballpark, I think I'm playing today, and I have no idea what position I'm playing. Like, that's not fun for anyone. Like, for one guy, sure. Like David Fletcher, Gio Urshela, like one of those guys on the MLB roster, if that's your role, like totally fine. Like, that's what you should be doing. You should have a guy who has that role. But for Brandon Drury to come to the yard every day and not know if he's playing first, second, short, or third, that's got to be the most frustrating thing in the world. Or Gio Urshela come to the yard, it's like, so am I playing short, third, first? He has to look at the lineup card right when he gets to the yard, and he's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll grab this glove today. It's like, how is that fair to him? How is he supposed to get into a rhythm and play good defense? And you're expecting these guys to play good defense. I know Jared talks about the defensive numbers, but the Angels lead the league in unearned runs. So they're obviously not playing that good a defense, because if you're leading the league in unearned runs, you're not doing things right. They might be making errors with 2 outs, and that doesn't help the ERA, or the unearned run, excuse me. But these guys are making really bad mistakes. Like the mistake early in the first inning, Gio Urshela had 2 hops. Drury, are you kidding me? You're playing shortstop and you 2-hop the guy? Oh, it's frustrating.
There's something to be said about the traditional way of constructing a baseball team. And any sports club for that matter, where you have a GM who constructs a team and you have a manager who, oh my gosh, manages the team. And I can't get past the idea that human instinct matters, gut instinct matters, and that sometimes the way an analytics machine tells you what should be done is not the actual way to do it. Some things are just common sense. Not putting Tucker Davidson in the game last night, that would have been common sense. What do? You put him in. Not having somebody in the bullpen with Suarez already given up 7 runs today. Hey, how about this? I know maybe I'm really off here, but maybe Suarez never should have been starting this game to begin with.
I agree. I mean,
when I looked at this pitching matchup on the schedule, I thought, oh dear gosh, it's going to be a massacre. Now, I didn't expect the Angels to put all those runs up on Perez, but I thought this is going to be a bloodbath. And I was right. You guys were right to think it'd be a bloodbath.
I would have liked to see them use an opener. I'm not even a big Suarez guy. I don't think Suarez should pitch at all, but I would have loved to see him use an opener. I would have loved to see Davinsky go, start the game, get the first 4 guys. If you look at the numbers, Suarez against the first 4 hitters, they rake against him. He dominates the second hitter, and then he dominates 7, 8, 9. So if you can get rid of the 1 through 4 for him and let him kind of face that maybe only 1 time instead of 3 times, he might actually be a little bit more successful. But I would have loved to see them use an opener. I still think that if you're going to let this guy throw 5, 6 innings, like, he should not start the game. There should be someone who starts the game for him.
Jared, you been quiet, man. What are you thinking? He's got nothing.
I know.
I really don't. I mean, it goes back to, I know we've all said it goes back to what we've been saying, but like just mentally incapable of playing a 9-inning game, you know. And again, I'm not even like mad about this series. I'm excited for this Astros series too, because that's a real good matchup, and everything like that. You get some good pitching matchups in there, but yeah, you know, it starts from the very top, you know, not Perry, but I mean, you talk about a manager, and that's again, I think what the difference is between the Angels and a lot of teams right now. It's that leadership in the clubhouse, which sometimes doesn't come on from players, it comes on from others. And yeah, you know, say what you want about Jose Suarez. I thought he should have started the game. That's fine. You know, you have to have a short leash on him in this start. You know, you can't, if you expect to win, you can't give up 7 runs in 3 and whatever innings he pitched. So I just don't know. You know, I don't know. I don't know where the Angels are at moving forward. You look forward to the next series, though.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Captain Miners. Is there anybody in the minors right now, given all the injuries overall, that can come up and take his spot?
Yeah,
you would say,
yeah. I mean, there's a couple different options. I mean, nobody in AAA, but you can go down to AA, and if you really want Sam Bachman to come up and start, you could start him and let him go 60, 65 pitches, whatever it is. I think that he's better suited in the bullpen at the moment. Bring in a guy like Ben Joyce, put him in the pen, and move Silseth to the rotation. Bring up a guy like Coleman Crow, though we missed his last start. You can bring up a guy like Mason Erla, though he's been kind of hit or miss a little bit this year. And also you look at AA, you don't know, what do you take away from AA with them using a sticky ball that they're using right now? You know, Coleman Crow, I don't think he can realistically throw up in the zone like he is. And, you know, he has 35 strikeouts in 21 innings, and he's not going to have that at the major league level. You know, he's not going to have that sticky stuff. None of these pitchers are going to have that sticky stuff. So it's going to be a whole different beast for them coming out from AA. So I think the only guy that's realistically ready in AAA or in AA is going to be Ben Joyce, and he's not a starter for you. So if you're bringing up Joyce, you're putting Silseth in the pen, which I think actually might happen, to be honest. I think
you could put David. You could have Davidson take over for Suarez. I don't think that makes a lot. Like I would rather have Silseth start than Davidson. But again, I think with the way this roster and this pitching is constructed, you might use an opener. Like Davidson's been pretty good for you out of the pen, long relief wise. You let Davinsky start the game. He goes out and gets 3 outs. And then Tucker Davidson comes in and he goes 4, 5, 6 innings as the second guy. And I think that's the best case scenario. You bring Ben Joyce up because Suarez goes on the IL. Joyce moves to the back end of the pen. And now you have another back end guy. I think that's what makes the most sense to me.
You have 2 open roster spots too right now, so you could bring up a guy like Kenny Rosenberg, who you right now, like if you go to bullpen games, I don't want to say you're throwing away the season, but you can't use the bullpen like that right now this early in the season, or else you're going to be taxed.
It's not a bullpen game though. If you're using Tucker Davidson as your 6th starter and you're opening for him, like the Rays do it all the time and it works for them. So why can't
not today? But
yeah, today it didn't work.
I mean,
but I don't think Fleming's an MLB.
You hopefully get 1 inning out of Davinsky.
Yeah, which is what you would get out of him anyway.
Davidson's been like a 2. He hasn't thrown more than 3 innings, I think, this year. So you go look. I don't think he's thrown more than 3 innings this year. He could be. You could go to a guy like Jaime Barria too, who's thrown more than. I think he's thrown 3 2/3 is his max this year. Who I think a lot of people are forgetting about as well. I don't think he starts, but yeah, like I said, if you have a lot of those guys.
His first outing, April 1st was 4.
Hey, that's fine, but still,
I mean, Jaime used to start eons ago.
So Davidson, they both did.
Yeah,
I would. I mean, it doesn't seem like anything I'm really comfortable with. And
do you even need a 6? Do you even need a 6 starter? Like, just roll with a 5-man rotation, right? Like,
do we? I mean,
like if you want to go win games, Jose Suarez isn't that dude that you can rely on to go win games. Just go run a 5-man rotation out there right now, and get guys on a roll.
Well, will Shohei be okay with that?
Doesn't matter. He's not coming back, right? Right? Like, who cares at this point? Either go trade him or go let him.
They have 13 games in a row after the break on Thursday. They play Houston for 3. They have an off day Thursday. They play 13 in a row. Shohei will not pitch on 5 days or on 4 days rest. That's not who he is. They're going to need a 6th starter. I think the best thing for them is to go opener and let Davidson or Berea be the guy who goes
Davidson,
4 or
Berea,
5 innings.
Silseth.
Yeah.
I think Silseth is elite in the back end. I would love to keep him as that 7th inning guy. But if Joyce is the one coming up and he proves he can get outs in the 7th inning, then I'm fine with Silseth being that starter guy. But
so does this? I mean, I would say after today we're probably expecting either a DFA for Suarez or an injured list, an IL run. So is that what you guys would assume as well?
I wouldn't. I would be shocked if he's DFA'd with all the confidence that they've thrown out for him. I would be absolutely shocked.
We just talked about this though. Like we just went over all the depth in the Angels farm system. They don't have depth. You need to keep him for depth. Like he might be not very good, but you need to keep him. He's going to get claimed if not. Not saying that he's going to be good.
I don't know that he's going to be claimed, dude. He's been horrible.
He get claimed.
By the way, Jose Soriano did start for, was it AAA or was it AA the other day?
Not a starter. He started because...
He's not, but he started for Low A last year. He started the other day. Not going to start, but if he can get you innings, we need somebody to get us innings right now. It's getting really bad.
I mean, that's what, if there's any hope for this team to make the postseason this year, it's going to be keeping this bullpen fresh. And right now, that's not happening. This bullpen's been eaten up all week. It's getting time for us to go, guys. Real quick, Houston series. How do you see it?
Which one of us, me or Nate?
You go ahead.
Rocks, paper, scissors.
I like the matchups. It's going to be a fun series. I think the Angels either take 2 of 3 or lose 2 of 3. You look at the matchups. Sandoval.
That's such a face. You're just a fence setter, man. Just take a shot. Take a shot.
Sandoval. Who do we say? Sandoval against Hunter Brown. I think I like Hunter Brown in that game a little bit more than Sandoval. So I think the Angels lose that game. Shohei against Framber. That's going to be a fun hour-and-a-half game that we're going to have there. So I think Shohei wins that game because it's Shohei Ohtani. So there's 1-1. And then the rubber match comes down to Griffin Canning, who's pitched decently well, against Christian Javier, who's also pitched decently well this year. So it's going to come down to the bullpen, and I like the Astros in that game. So I think the Astros take 2 or 3.
There we go. I agree. 2 or 3 for the Astros.
Astros sweep. They get hot and play the Angels. All you have to do right now is play the Angels, and you get hot. That's what it seems like. So,
the Cardinals?
Yeah, the Cardinals suck.
The Cardinals put 12 up today, though.
Wow.
They still lost 2 or 3 to Detroit.
Stay locked in. Not Cardinals podcast.
No, but yeah, I think Framber traditionally throws well against the Angels. I think it's going to be tough for the Angels to hit the slow curveball and the 95, 97 mile an hour fastball. Hopefully Ohtani bounces back, but I think Ohtani does bounce back. I think he throws well, but I think Framber throws well, and Astros win that game like 2-1. Hunter Brown's going to dominate. They'll probably win that game, and then Javier will probably have 13 strikeouts. It'll be a good game. I don't think the Angels get blown out in any of the games. They'll play them tough, but I don't like the Angels in any of them.
All right. Well,
what about you? What do you got?
I said 2 out of 3.
Okay.
The Astros.
Okay.
It's rough when the entire Angels podcast here says an Astros series win.
If you set expectations correctly, you're not disappointed. Like I'm not disappointed at this Rangers series. I thought they played good enough to lose. Like I mean, minus this Sunday, minus today's game. I thought they played good enough to lose. And again, you set expectations. This is going to be a fun series. It's good pitching matchups all the way around. You get to see a good team. You get to see 3 ace type pitchers pitch for the Astros, and you get to see 2 ace type pitchers pitch for the Angels.
I just want to point this out as well. After this, they go to Cleveland. They haven't won in Cleveland in years. And I get to be there to suffer through that. So the way the schedule's looking out this next week, then they go to Baltimore.
We did say this month sucks. This month sucks.
I mean, so they need to get things together now, starting pitching wise. now in the field, or else we're looking at a rough week ahead of us. It's just what it's going to be. So I can't. It's been what, a couple? I think it's been at least. I go almost every year. It's been. It didn't win last year or the year before. They haven't won in Cleveland. I think since 2018. I'm gonna check now, but it's been that long. It's been that long. So, all right, guys. If you're leaving this podcast depressed, we're sorry. It's what it was today.
We get to watch Jake Lamb pitch the 9th inning.
That said, we do get to see some great pitching matchups this week. So stay tuned for that. Shohei's on Tuesday. And as always, in the meantime, follow us on Twitter, Talking Halos. We're on social media as well. We're out of here.